When the Pixel 3a came out, I said it was a phone that most people should buy. It was a killer deal with great hardware, performance, and arguably the best camera in the market. Then the Pixel 4a came, which was also a great deal, but not quite as compelling because it was so similar. After that, the Pixel 4a with 5G came out with slightly better specs. Then the Pixel 5 came, which was almost the same phone. And now Google has come out with the Pixel 5a, which is also very similar in all kinds of ways with a still friendly $449 price tag. It's been my primary phone for the past month, but is it still that Pixel A series phone that I could recommend to everyone? Let's find out after talking about our sponsor for this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is a vast online learning platform with thousands of courses from industry experts ranging from 3D animation to UX UI design to video production. That might sound a little overwhelming, but Skillshare offers courses for all levels of experience. There's a ton of courses for beginners as well as intermediate to advanced level courses for creators that want to take that extra step. I've personally used Skillshare to continuously add on to my video editing skill set. I've recently switched from Adobe Premiere to DaVinci Resolve, and Fred Trevino's color grading course has helped me a ton in that transition. Because I'm so used to editing on Premiere, it hasn't been the easiest experience to navigate around the color grading options on an entirely different software. Fred's video projects are much different from my YouTube videos, but seeing how he adjusts color on Resolve has taught me a lot about color grading in general and made me much more comfortable with Resolve. Skillshare has so many courses just like this, and if you're interested, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. In terms of design, there's really nothing that pops out or is exciting about the Pixel 5a. It looks virtually the same as all the other Pixels in the past 2 years. There's a fingerprint sensor on the back, there's still a 3.5mm headset jack, it's got stereo speakers using the earpiece and the bottom firing grills. It only comes in one color called mostly black, but it does look slightly green in certain lighting situations. But I will say that this is the most premium feeling Pixel since the Pixel 4 XL. It's a metal unibody with similar coating to the Pixel 4a, but it definitely has more heft and doesn't feel like a cheap phone anymore. The Pixel 5a is also bigger, heavier, wider, and taller than the previous A series phones. I personally like that, and it's a comfortable size for me, but it's a little harder to use one-handed, and I know a lot of people will miss the smaller form factor. What everyone will like is that the Pixel 5a is IP67 water and dust resistant, which is the very first time on an A series phone. It's something you don't really appreciate until your phone falls into the pool, so yeah, that's great. One thing I didn't like about the hardware here are the power and volume keys. They're very tactile, maybe a little too much. These buttons are loud and require extra pressure to get them to click. Not a huge deal, but something I noticed. Now onto the big new display. This is a 6.3-inch 1080p OLED panel with this camera hole in the top left corner. For the price, I actually really like this display. For phones in this price range, I found displays to be often a little on the dull side with a worse contrast ratio, but this 5a's color reproduction and black levels are very nice to look at. However, one downside is that this is only a 60Hz display. If you're coming from another 60Hz phone, then sure, this is fine. But a lot of phones at this price range are starting to offer 90 to 120Hz refresh rates. For example, the Realme GT 5G has a similar price tag and has a 120Hz display. I would say the Pixel 5a has a higher quality display with better colors and contrast. However, for me, a higher refresh rate makes a bigger impact in making a smoother and more pleasing experience. So even without a high refresh rate display, how is the performance? The Pixel 5a comes with a Snapdragon 765G processor, Adreno 620 GPU, 6GB of RAM, 128GB of storage, and support for 5G mid-band, so it doesn't support Verizon's millimeter wave 5G. So yes, fairly mid-range specs here, but that's pretty much in line with the Pixel 5's internals, which I was satisfied with. Same story with the 5a, I am satisfied with the performance here. Apps open relatively fast, memory management is not the best, but what I appreciate is the consistency. While my Galaxy S21 and the Realme GT are much faster devices, I do experience some random and noticeable slowdowns, which is less of an issue on the 5a. However, one big complaint that everyone has been having with this phone is that it overheats, and I've definitely experienced that as well. The issue is very apparent for picture-in-picture mode, split-screen multitasking, and 4K video recording for more than a few minutes. But after the September patch and security update, I found the overheating to be much less noticeable and the performance to be better than it was before. Something to keep in mind is that if you're coming from a high refresh rate display, this 60Hz refresh rate is going to be a bit jarring, at least for the first week or so. So while I'm satisfied with the performance here, it depends on where you're coming from. Not everyone will be able to stand the lack of a high refresh rate display. One thing this phone does have over higher spec phones or any other phone at this price is the software. I'm actually not a stock Android purist, and I like when OEMs put useful customizations to Android. That said, this mid-range phone gets top-end software support directly from Google. So on top of at least 3 years of dedicated OS and security updates, this phone will be the first to get new versions of Android. Now Samsung actually has started to match this update cadence, but Google phones do tend to get the newest updates first. This Pixel 5a is on Android 11 at the moment with a couple of special features like cinematic pan and night sight portrait mode. But that's old news. What's really exciting is Android 12, which is coming very soon and changes a lot of different things. It'll be an entirely new look and feel, advanced privacy features, and a new notification system. I'll make a separate video once it's here, but yeah, if software updates and speed consistency are super important to you, you can't go wrong with the Pixel. Pixel phones historically haven't had the biggest batteries, but the Pixel 5a breaks that trend with a gigantic 4,680 mAh battery. Before the September security update, I found the battery to be a bit disappointing considering how big the battery was. It was only about 1 full day of battery. However, after the September update, the battery life did improve and I'm comfortably getting a full day and sometimes even 1.5 days of battery. Charging wise, the 5a comes with an 18-watt charger actually in the box, but no wireless charging capabilities. 18 watts might not be super exciting, but the 5a does have a decent charging speed, taking about an hour and a half to get from 20 to 100%. Now onto the cameras. The Pixel 5a has a dual lens rear camera setup with a 12.2 megapixel main and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. To no surprise, the Pixel 5a is yet again the best camera you can get for the price. Even with a mid-range processor, it's super quick to take photos and it's hard to get duds with this camera because of Google's excellent post-processing. I love the look and feel of every photo I take no matter what the situation is, especially with the still amazing night sight mode. Even though this is still the best stills camera for the price, it doesn't have that definitive lead anymore. It's basically the same camera as the Pixel 4a and the 5, so other phones at this price tag have been catching up, especially in terms of zoom and resolution. While the 5a is still mid-range king of camera stills, it's not quite the king of video. It's decent and definitely good enough for 1080p vlogging, but it's just not as exceptional as its photos. On top of that, it's also got that infamous overheating issue with 4K video recording for long periods of time. The videos are not bad at all and better than most, but it's just not the best. The front-facing camera is a standard 8 megapixel lens. I have to say that these selfies are not as flattering as the selfies you get from Samsung phones, but they do look more accurate and the quality is pretty great. Now, with all that said about this phone, let's go back to that original question. Is the Pixel 5a a phone that I could recommend to everyone? Yes and no. Yes, because I don't think anyone needs more than what this phone offers. It's got solid hardware, solid software with dedicated support directly from Google. It's got great battery life and an excellent camera that's great in any situation. But I do think for a lot of people, some of these other mid-range phones in the market might provide better value than the Pixel 5a. Sure, they might have slightly worse cameras and don't get the fastest software updates, but they actually have a design that says something with higher end processors, high refresh rate displays, and unique software features not available on vanilla Pixel Android. It really depends on what's most important to you about a phone, but I will say that the Pixel 5a won't disappoint anyone, but the A series just doesn't seem to be the killer deal that it used to be. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Friendly disclaimer, this Pixel 5a unit was a free gift from Google to me, but I was not paid to make this video and all opinions in this video were mine only. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this phone and I'll see you guys on the next one.